Y'all ever notice how when they take Mexican fighters, they use that term, that Mexican style of boxing. They call people great fighters, and they always say this fighter would have been too much for that guy. He wouldn't have been able to, have anything to keep this guy off him. That great Mexican style, or just that aggressiveness in general, right? Notice that, but especially when they use that term, that Mexican style. Now, notice when a black fighter fights aggressively, and even if they get hit and get hurt, get wobbled, they still win and they still dominate. But somehow people will find every little excuse, just complain about everything, just find something. They can't just give a fighter their just due. So if that Mexican style y'all talking about, right? Or just that aggressive, come forward, let's bang, I'm gonna get you out of here. Well, you talk about like when Sugar Ray Leonard learned his lesson in the first fight against Duran and showed you that come forward aggressive style don't work with a slick boxer. What, you mean that? Is that what you mean? Or you talking about how Julio Cesar Chavez showed you, that, hey, even though I come forward to get you out of there, hey, Pernell Whitaker was making me miss all night and lighting my ass up, but somehow we got a draw. I mean, what are we talking about? Are we talking about how Marvin Hagler was coming forward, at Sugar Ray Leonard all night long? But guess what? He didn't get Marv out of there. He didn't get Leonard out of there, did he? And he boxed, he moved. Here's the crazy thing. When Ray Leonard fought Duran the first time, he lost, and everybody said he fought the wrong fight. There were other guys he could fight that way and get away with it. He just couldn't do it with Duran that first fight. Second fight, he fought him the way he was supposed to. When you see a fighter decide, I'm not going to box and move, I'm going to come forward and I'm going to bang. If it works, like say for example, if it's working for them all night long, then they get caught with a punch and say they get knocked out. Are you going to say that style was a mistake when it was working for them, but they got caught? What happens when they box and move? Then y'all say these fighters, they're running. So no matter what a fighter does, basically it just comes down to we got to find something to complain about. I mean, because let's just be real. Jerome Boots Ennis, he stood there in front of Xander. He fought his fight the way he wanted to. He mixed it up. And yeah, he did go in there and bang. He did go in there and do what he was supposed to do. Despite other people saying he should have done this or he should have done that. The funny thing is, Xander is known to box. He's not known for being a big banger. But regardless what happened, Xander gets dropped 3 times. And it's funny because now all of a sudden that the fight's over, all I hear is, yo, everybody knew Xander was going to lose. Really? Yeah. There could be a lot of things that I didn't see where people was picking Boots to win, but I seen a whole lot. And everything that I saw, Xander was favored to win. And a whole lot of y'all saw the same things. But it's always after the fight. Now all of a sudden I knew, yeah, y'all didn't know a damn thing. Let me say this. We've seen a lot of fighters fight in ways where it was said this fighter fought very courageous, right? Because that fighter, they went out and did something and they won in a way where people didn't expect them to be able to win, right? Well, let me say this. If you look at that and you pay attention to how when you win, you're a genius. If you lose, you should have fought differently. I mean, when Mildred Taylor fought Julio Cesar Chavez, You know, that's one thing about Philly fighters, man. Even when they know how to box really well, they got that's just what it is. You at some point, it turns into a, to you just banging out when stick to your game plan. That's the reason I don't like the term Philly fighter. You know why? Because 10 times out of 10, when you hear the term a Philly fighter, they're focused on the fact that you're fighting in a way that doesn't work for you, or you're making the fight harder for yourself. That's what that pretty much means. You're not fighting discipline. Now back to Mildred and Chavez. When they fought, Mildred was winning that fight by far. Chavez needed a knockout to win. And unless they were going to rob him on the scorecards, he was basically getting beat. Now, he put a beating. They beat each other up. They both spent time in the hospital. But Meldrick Taylor, even with getting knocked down, like Chavez needed a knockout to win, not a knockdown, a knockout. But even with him getting knocked down and getting up, and Richard Steele talking to him, even if Meldrick Taylor didn't look in this corner, if he would have shook his head, I'm ready, yeah, let's go, Richard Steele might have still did that anyway. He waved it off with like 5 seconds or something like that left on the clock or whatever. Okay. So physically, let's say even if Meldrick would have got the decision, would have got the win, right? If Richard Steele didn't rob him, he was never the same again. You know what people basically said? And I agree. That Meldrick Taylor Chavez fight, that fight took a lot out of him. Physically, he was never the same. The problem, and people don't understand that, is the media, interviewers, different people, they want to dictate what you should and shouldn't have done. They want to narrow down what your career was. Let me sum it all up. This is what you were. This is what this guy should have done. This is what that guy should have done. You do what you do when you're in there. You can win by a landslide, and we still can see mistakes that was made. The mistakes are usually only talked about if those mistakes cause you to lose. But when you win, depending on who you are, they'll overlook them. This is what I say when you talk all of this. This guy fight this way and that way, and you make up in your mind who'd win because a person fight at a style that you like more. Like, for a perfect example, when Canelo fought against Gennady Golovkin, and he was saying he wanted to fight that Mexican style, right? Rematch happens. Canelo's not on the back foot anymore. Canelo's walking him down. Gennady's doing on the back foot. Now, I remember Roy Jones making the point that, no, you said you want to fight that Mexican style, then you on the back foot, man. You got to fight that Mexican style. Like, yeah, Roy, I hear what you're saying, but that's bullshit. There's no such thing as a ranking system based on Mexican style. I don't care what a fighter said. That don't mean nothing. That's like if Ali said, I'm going to knock you out in 2, and now all of a sudden the fight goes a distance, or he knocked you out in the 8th round, oh, well, Ali really lost because he said he was going to knock him out in 2. Like, that's just petty shit, man. Yeah, he did say he wanted to fight Mexican style, and then realized that the way Canelo prepared for him in the rematch, it didn't suit him to fight the fight that Canelo was bringing to him, that same style. Like, it was better for him to fight more of a boxer style now. Well, isn't Gennady Golovkin the same guy that y'all said would have beat Marvin Hagler? But he couldn't even go toe-to-toe with Canelo, who's not as versatile as Marv was, and basically flat-footed, slow-foot. There was a time where, he fought better. There was a time where he was slicker, he was, smarter. He was able to do more, like that. What he did was he adjusted when he became more flat-footed. He was never a guy that moved a lot, but he was quicker. His hands was quicker, his feet was quicker at one point. Now you go up in weight, right? And you're fighting these bigger, taller guys and you're walking them down. it's not just about a guy being bigger and stronger. Terrence Crawford showed you that because everybody said he was unbeatable at 168 pounds, Canelo. And Crawford came up to 168 pounds and beat him and made it look easy. Crawford's not a bigger, stronger guy. So why was he able to do it? So when Bivol did it, it was the excuse. He don't want no parts of Bivol. He don't want a rematch with Bivol at 175, at 168. At no point in time does he want a rematch with Bivol. Well, think about it. He's claiming he wants a rematch with retired Crawford. Why is he not screaming a rematch with Bivol? And Bivol already made it known that he would have came down to 168. People say, well, Bivol, someone said the other day, Bivol might not be interested anymore. Man, they're always interested where is big money at. And if there's the opportunity there for you to take it, you're going to take it. That's just talk. When people say, it's just people running their mouth, giving their opinions. Oh, we don't think that, Bivol interested now. He might not be interested now in terms of, all the Canelo trying to take everything for himself and trying to make it seem like, Canelo was the one that won the fight instead of Bivol being the one that won the fight, because we know how that went. But again, let's pick and choose. He doesn't want to fight Benavidez, right? So here's the way I see it. When you say Mexican style, you're limiting that fighter to just that one style. That's all he knows. When you say Philadelphia fighter, right? They don't really talk that Philadelphia fighter stuff if it's a guy that boxes and don't really get caught up into the slang and bang type thing. If he just, can move and box, you don't really hear them use that term. I mean, they don't use that term, So when you have expectations of a fighter to be a particular way, and then that fighter comes in and that fighter fights a fight differently than what they said. Like example, that's my point. What Roy was saying is that Bivol came in there talking about Mexican style, then he came in and he wanted to get on the back foot. Like he was wrong because he said one thing and did something else. No. If you go in the ring and whatever your game plan is, no matter what the hell your game plan is, if your instincts, if your understanding, your boxing IQ, you see, nah, I got to switch it up with this guy. I got to do something different. Then that's what you do. See, just say, for example, when Ray Leonard fought Duran, right? If he would have understood in that first fight, nah, this is not working. Let me switch up in box. Let me get back to being doing what I should do with this guy. He could have won that first fight, right? By doing what Ray Leonard does, box. And Ray did mix it up. He fought certain guys more than he boxed. He gave you different looks. He, boxer punches sometimes, pure boxer, whatever it took. That's what Ray did. With Duran got under his skin. He said he wanted to beat Duran at his own game. And like I said, everybody said he shouldn't have fought that way. Right. So now, think about the Duran fighters, fans that say shit like, oh, all he did in the rematch was run. Really? Right. So Duran quit because he ran. He ain't quit because he stuck and moved and was beating his ass all over the ring, right? Excuses. So on one hand, he shouldn't have fought toe-to-toe. On the other hand, he should have did in the first fight what he did in the second fight. But then on the other hand, all he did was run. So what do you want him to do? It's obvious. We want you to fight in a way that suits the fighter that we want to win, because when you really show your boxing skills, the world saw that Duran didn't have a chance. It looked like he didn't even belong in the ring with Ray Leonard, right? Okay. So for every fighter that's one-dimensional, that's why they like to fight certain fighters. That's why bangers like to stay away from slick boxers. And the only time that they probably really want that smoke with a slick boxer is if that slick boxer is not known to have any real power. But if that slick boxer is an all-around fighter, offense, defense, know how to switch it up and everything, they get in there and get frustrated and get confused. Now, what's the first thing the public starts saying? He's a bum. He's overrated. Maybe. But even as good as they are at what they do, like Pitbull Cruz, because of the fight he had with Tank, and Tank broke his hand and messed his hand up really bad in that fight, and his shoulders badly swollen, the head and everything, everybody started acting like Pitbull Cruz was like, you know, yeah, same thing that they always say. Only Tank could beat him. Yeah, okay. But then they go and then they lose to other guys that you expect them to win against. This is why, like me, I have a brain. No, I'm not a puppet. Nobody pulls strings. I don't have strings attached to my back. I hear so many people just repeat what they hear other people say. They don't think for themselves. They just repeat what other people say. This is why when things don't happen for them the way that they would like them to happen for them, they end up saying, I'm shocked. I can't believe it. I didn't know he had it in him. And this is why my question to people is, how many times have you watched boxing? How many years have you been watching it? How many times have you seen a guy win that you didn't think could win? When are you going to learn that things happen in the ring? But most people speak about theoretical shit, or like I said, what their preference is. You know, it's one of these things where certain guys, certain fighters are going to always get the majority of fans against them because there's this general consensus of he or she can't beat this person, they won't beat that person. Not only do they beat them, they annihilate them. So now it's, I just hate this person because they proved me wrong. So now I want to see them lose. I mean, that don't make you think, like, how do people just decide, I hate this person, I don't like them? What the fuck does your personal feelings got to do with who's a better fighter? All this of what I'm saying, it comes down to your preference has nothing to do with what's going to happen when that fighter that you like steps in the ring. So if they lose, they just lose. We're not even talking about you speaking out against people that carry themselves as bad people, racist people, hateful people, nothing. Just the fact that you just want to see them lose. And when they lose, you act like you won. You act like your kids got free tuition to go to college, like your family hit the lottery. Like, you know, this is how you take it. You know what the reality is, though? And this is a sad reality. History is going to always repeat itself in good and bad ways. One thing's for sure, people are more focused on negativity. So my thing is, I broke down Jaron Ennis versus, Xander Zayas. I basically spoke on that, and my thing with that is, I told y'all, people are so predictable, man. I told y'all, it's going to be a bunch of excuses as to, or they're going to bring the age thing into play, or it's going to be some nonsense. Man, the excuses I've already started. I don't care about greatest of all time. I don't care about this all time. One day my ass is going to be dead. You watching this video are going to be dead. None of that's going to matter anymore, is it? Everybody has their time. We're on this earth. I'm here to enjoy my life, to live and enjoy my life. I'm not here to debate, argue, and worry about all of this nonsense. We got too many real serious issues going on in the world for me to be even concerned about who you think is a so-called goat. I don't know. There's a farm around the corner. There's plenty of goats there. Take your pick. I care about all that nonsense. And this is the thing about content creators, journalists, okay, all these podcasters and YouTubers. This is the problem. Y'all always create these scenarios in y'all head. You put it out to the public. The public gets invested into it and they talk about it. Y'all create arguments and stupid, meaningless conversations about these people when basically, just like everybody else, including yourself, that fighter is going to do what that fighter does. That fighter's career is going to come to an end. There'll be somebody else. There'll be somebody else. There'll be somebody else. Your ass won't be here no more. I won't be here. There'll be a whole other generation of people doing the same things. And when you really look at things in that perspective, because that's reality, who cares? Would you be on your deathbed going, hey, before I die, could y'all tell me something? Yeah, your family's here, all your loved ones is here. Anything, what is it you need? Can you tell me if Muhammad Ali is still considered the greatest? I just want to know. Do you really care that much to know? It's petty. The way I see it, people come and people go. As long as you're alive and you have an interest in something, then you think about it. Outside of that, you can care less, man. You're living your life. And the same with these fighters. Fighters like Tito Trinidad. They're talking about Duran is not as good as him. He's not as good. How the fuck do you know that? Now, don't get me wrong. I think this generation isn't as good. It's not just a Duran thing. It's this generation, period. I don't think as good as that generation of the Terry Norrises, the De La Hoyas, the Trinidads, the Pernell Whitakers, and all of them. No, I don't think this generation is as good. I think that because of their little flashy flair style, the little cute shit, I don't even see Terrence Crawford the same as I see a Sugar Ray Leonard. I don't even see him the same way as I see those guys. Y'all tripping. He'd have beat Marvin Hagler. How? Nah. Y'all tripping. He'd have beat Ray Leonard. Based on what? He'd have beat Hearns. How? Just saying, none of them. Canelo, I don't see any of them like that. To me, all of that went out the window. Floyd, Pacquiao, that era of people, like, that was like the last of all of that. That next generation after, nah. No. And it doesn't matter, because it's only opinions anyway. But bottom line, when you say Duran is not as good as them, and he's not this and he's not that, right? Check this out. For that matter, it don't matter who you see as the pound for pound best at this era. That don't mean that they could have beat Trinidad and them either. You understand what I'm saying? That don't mean, so when you say that this guy would have beat, okay, that's your fucking opinion. And that's the problem. Certain people think that they're appointed to tell you who those people are and explain to you why they win. It's still their opinion. And what you got to understand too, look at how many times these same people tell you they predict fights right now. And not only are they wrong, but they're way off the mark with how the fight plays out. Let me say this too. In terms of this all-time great shit, I don't care about that, man. I don't care about any of that. You when you understand what's really important in life, you really understand how unnecessary and how toxic stroking the human ego is. You really find that out. It's when you haven't grown up yet and you're immature and egotistical, you think that means something. That's why so many people do end up getting their asses whooped, because they think they're better than what they are. And they'll tell you, just think this, because the same way these fans of these fighters can say something and you agree with it because you're a fan, right? What about this though? What about all the fighters that tell you that they would have beat Ray Robinson, they'd have beat Ray Leonard, they'd have beat Hearns and Ali and all of them, and then they get knocked out by somebody who is not even mentioned as an all-time great? I mean, it's like that guy Lang, the Jamaican brother that beat Roberto Duran. Oh, but Duran was old. How old was Duran? How? Well, he was 30 years old. Stop lying. Stop lying. Kirkland Lang beat him. He was 30 years old. Stop lying. And, it's always, you can't just admit somebody lost. I don't build anybody up to be superhuman. I don't put people on totem poles and all that. I don't put them on pedestals. What I do, I'm just real about what I see. So when you see somebody, like, notice, the Mexican monster, David Benavidez, what makes him a Mexican monster? Why? Because Mike Tyson said it? They call it New Way the Japanese monster. Why? Why? Because somebody say it, you repeat it, right? Come on, man. What makes them a monster? They're human beings, that's all. And then when you look at their resumes, and you look at who's who, and they're still trying to find the big fights. Yeah, so, when you find yourself just repeating what people say, and you doing things in a foolish way, like you get in your feelings. This person would have beat that person. Yeah, this person would have, like, come on, man. Everything that you hear come out of somebody's mouth, y'all don't question anything. And it's not to be optimistic, man. It's not to just put up an art. No, you think about it. How many times have we heard this person got the better resume? They fought the better fighters, right? And that may be true. It doesn't mean that person wins. And we've seen it happen. There's times where that's the case, and we've seen that person actually win. How do we determine who's the best fighter, though? Once they go in there and they fight, that's when we determine. Otherwise, what are we talking about? Let's just give our opinions on who's who. And if the fight don't happen, it ain't because of my favorite fighter. It's because of your favorite fighter. That's what type of time y'all on, man. Goofy shit like that. That's the type of, this shit is a joke, man. I don't take it serious. It's a sport. It's not as entertaining as it used to be. It's too much politics, too much bullshitting, too many coward-ass fighters that don't really want to fight. They want to tell you that they're the best fighters, and you believe it. They don't believe they have to go in the ring and prove it, though. That's cowardly. They want top dollar, but they don't want the top opponents. Now, I don't know where Jaron Boots Ennis goes from here, but he, just like every other fighter, is going to find himself in a position where there'll be more criticism. There'll be fights that don't happen. We don't know why they don't happen, but people are going to make up some shit in their head and put videos out and tell you what they think, or sources say blah, blah, blah. Do you really care? Do I give a shit about finger pointing? Do you guys realize that when you are about the truth, you find out how many fake people are around you, how many fake people are in this world? You guys, who, for example, the video that I posted, and I talked about Bruce Lee, and that wasn't even Bruce Lee in the damn Nokia commercial. And no, they was not really playing ping pong. The guy with the nunchucks was using the nunchucks, and they had another guy that was on the other side with the ping pong paddle, right? It wasn't even Bruce Lee. And I told you had grown-ass men coming in my comment sections like, damn, Aries, you killed my dreams, man. I thought, and like I said, it's sad for you to be a grown-ass man and feel like that, but that's a you problem. The hell, goddamn, if I thought something was false, I would want to know the truth than to be comfortable with a fucking lie. And then I'm listening to people. I'm reading comments in Hebrew talk about, I ain't never see Michael John White play no motherfucking nunchucks with no damn ping pong with no nunchucks. And guess what? You ain't see Bruce Lee do it either. You ain't see nobody do it. They tell you all of that. The information is there for all to see. It wasn't even Bruce Lee, but y'all bragging and talking about what Bruce would have did. And this is what I'm saying. You're bragging and trying to make points off something that's fake. And instead of, damn, you know what? I'm glad homie woke me up with the truth. It turns into a, yeah, but, yeah, it's always a yeah, but what? Bro, it's not about what I want it to be. It's about what the truth is. So for me, like I said, I got some common sense, so I knew it wasn't no damn Bruce. I knew it wasn't real from the very beginning. Like that. I knew this shit was fake. But when the information is available to you, and instead of you looking at it going, damn, it's true, y'all want to act like it never happened. And you don't want to comment because, damn, he's telling the truth again. As always. Opinions don't mean nothing, man. And this is why I like for myself, when I hear these folks talking about who's the greatest and who's in anything, I don't get caught up in them conversations, man. I really don't even care. You know, more than likely, people stick to what was popular to them in their childhood and their generation, and that's pretty much people are biased. You have very few unbiased people. Most people are biased. They're going to always go with what was, more common to them. But, I really don't care. And, I have no interest in arguing over no grown-ass men or no grown-ass women or nobody for that matter to want to prove who was better than who. You got to understand something, man. You got to understand something. Your life should be more valuable to you than sitting up here arguing like a little bitch over people who can give a fuck about you. What would you say to your kids if your kids ever said, Daddy, what you mad at? No, man, these niggas in here saying Boots could beat fucking Crawford. I don't like that shit. That's what you gonna do? That's how you raise your kids? Because that's what the truth would be, right? You and your feelings because you're concerned about what people feel about a grown-ass man. Some grown-ass man, like, the hell do I don't care about any of that stuff, man. Let me tell y'all something, man. Years ago, some of y'all might remember, and everything I think, I don't have to feel the need to jump in front of a camera and say it, especially if it's just opinions, but some of y'all might remember years ago, I said, Floyd has put himself in a position financially where as of now, he has no worries, right? I said one thing about bragging about money, though. All it takes, especially when you're a celebrity, you're a popular face, all it takes is one thing to happen. I mean, one thing. And people are coming after you. You got lawsuits left and right. You got people that will set things up. Send a female to be an escort for you for anything. He raped me. Or, he just said we were going to have some drinks and talk, and then he tried to farm or anything. People are going to start coming after you. What you don't want to do is put yourself in a position where you burn bridges with people. And your ego make you think that you're above people. Like Floyd said some stupid shit one night. I don't know what his motivation was. I think it's something, I don't remember who it was. But something in conversation on an interview, he told like a motherfucker, I could buy your life. Like, in other words, I could hire somebody to kill you. That's where he was going with that. Like, I could buy your life, right? I said, that's some dumb shit to say, man. That is some really dumb shit to say. Here's what happens. There's always somebody else to do business with. So when you find yourself, by the way, y'all know where I'm at? Enough said. Know what's on my... So yeah, when you say shit like that, I could buy your life, and I'm like, ignorance, man. Ignorance. Certain shit you don't even need to say. But you know what? Fast forward, I don't know his financial status, and it's none of my business. And I'm not, but I'm saying, you see all the big mess, you see all the scandal talk, you see how many years. All right, so anyways, y'all, I'm getting ready to wrap this video up. I had so much going on, and I decided that I'm going to just do this walk out here and just chill. And one more again. And so while I'm doing the video, I was just going to record, and hey, that's what it is. But, all these different styles, man, and all this preference don't mean nothing. I'm telling y'all, I look at the fighters involved, what they bring to the table, and even when you feel strong about who you think is going to win, they could still lose. It's that simple. And once you get emotionally invested into these fighters, y'all start making things personal. There are, like, for example, I never want to see Teofimo win. I never want to see Ryan Garcia win. I don't give a fuck about them, like, just who they are as people, scumbags. So I don't care about them, you understand what I mean? But it has nothing to do with who I like more as a fighter with them. It's who they are as human beings. But I'm nobody's fan anyway. So we start talking about real fighters. We talk about, who we think will beat who based on the way the fighters fight. That's when you're really talking real boxing talk. But once you start getting to we from the same place and okay, you can be biased and cheer for that person. That's all good. But when it doesn't work, then what? Then what? I mean, so if I had a favorite fighter and he or she got knocked out, what does that do for me? How do I lose? The only way I lose is if I bet money on that person and they went and lost. Other than that, how do I lose? So why do I walk around my head down? Why am I walking around feeling it inside because that person lost? Nah, for what? I didn't lose anything. You got your ass whooped. So it don't matter even if I wanted you to win. I didn't lose, you did. But everybody ought to be I predicted it. I told you. Yeah, I've been telling y'all for the past 15 years. I told you. Yeah, I know. How many times your ass been wrong? But yeah, it's not what it is with me. I'm more about the fights. Just the sheer combat. Human beings can really be screwed up, terrible ass people. For so many different reasons. Very few people actually want to be good people. Even old heads walk around still trying to be the bad guy. But, it is what it is. What I'm telling you guys is really simple. Once you find yourself in a position of making claims and predictions based on anything other than the two guys in the ring, you'll probably be wrong more than half of the time. Because you're really not thinking, you're not using smarts, you're just going off of who you want to win. As I was saying before, I don't know where this leads Terence Crawford. Where this leads Jaron Boots Ennis. But what I will tell you is, for the type of crap that people say about him, for all of the nonsense that people say, I will just say this. For him to not let the pressure get to him, not let the talk become pressure. How people say, the more people hate, the better I do. Nah, I really don't give a fuck what you say. You can feel what you want. You can, you can think whatever. I'm going to prove you wrong, not by trying to prove you wrong. I don't need any of that for motivation. All I need is to do what I need to do. Understanding who and what I am. That's it. Again, we all had different levels of maturity. And I learned as a kid to stop giving a fuck about what people think. People are always going to doubt you. And this goes for any fighter. Any fighter. The next video I do, I'm not going to talk about it right now because, you know, I don't want to make the video any longer than I already have. But I'm going to tell you, it will be about Ben Whittaker. And there's so many people that say so many things about Ben Whittaker. And no matter what they say, he continues to win. But let's just leave that at there. And, you know, it's not about what people's expectations are. That's the problem with people. You think your expectations mean something. No, your expectations is yours. Everybody think you're supposed to do exactly what they say, what they think. And the second that they think it. What you need to understand is who and what you are. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys now. I'll catch you guys on the next video.